Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. You probably know that I've been talking about this little civil war, incipient civil war. I don't think it's that incipient, but nevertheless, at the beginning, low intensity between Zaluzny and Zelensky. Zaluzny being the military leader, and the other one being the politician clown leader, which is Zelensky, obviously. They try to keep everything under the rug, but it does not work that way. Why? Because Zaluzny, the general, came out and during an interview he said that it's a stalemate, the war in Ukraine, and gave an unapproved assessment of the war. Zelensky came in 2 days after that and said no, that's not a stalemate. That means contradicting the military guy who probably provided him with the information, since it comes from the military. The information on the war, what's going on the front, doesn't come from the artists or athletes. It comes from the military. So the military are informing Zaluzny, and then they are informing Zelensky. So that's something that Zaluzny was not supposed to say. Guess what? We don't know yet who's who, what's what with these guys in the West. Who are they supporting? I said that Zelensky, the president, is supported by the Western countries, and Zaluzny is supporting Ukrainians. Wink, wink. You know what that means? Okay. Zelensky is the West's little boy, and Zaluzny, it seems like, doesn't want to be on this side anymore. It's much more to that, but let's get into this little article coming from bad Sputnik, telling us that actually the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, the boss, showed up for a secret meeting with Zelensky. Now, people say, well, why did they meet? To have a tea or something? You don't do this unless it's something bad. Something bad you need to solve and everybody back off. So let's look at this little article. As I said, comes from Sputnik, and this is the title. CIA chief's Ukraine visit linked to looming palace coup against Zelensky. I think these guys want to stop Zaluzny from attacking Zelensky, and Zelensky, in my assessment, has the intelligence agencies on his part, the security forces, like the secret police, you would put it. Like, for instance, you have the military fighting, let's say, FBI. You know who's going to win, right? So that's my assessment, is Zelensky with his FBI in Ukraine, SBU, I think it is. And these guys are the military, so SBU has no chance. And they are Ukrainians. I think they will leave Zelensky and his foreign paymasters to the side. But we're going to find out. Let's see what this guy did over there. Ukrainian government in fighting has already escalated to assassinations of factional lieutenants. International affairs and security analyst Mark Sleboda said CIA Director William Burns would either tamp down the civil war or tell the President Zelensky to go quietly. So, in this guy's assessment, either wins one side or the other one, I guess. Tamp down, what other options are? You know, he can't do anything to Zaluzny unless they take care of Zaluzny, if you know what I mean, and they have their own people. In the past few days, Zelensky, with the help of the new appointed Minister of Defense of Ukraine, said that they will dismiss 3 Ukrainian generals under the command of Zaluzny. So I made a video saying that they destroy Zaluzny's base, so they can put their own people that would not listen to Zaluzny's orders. Therefore, they can put him aside and say, so what are you going to do? That's one. And the other one, Zelensky works with the, I will say FBI, but that's his SBU, I think it is. That's how it's called, the security forces, the ones that arrest you in the middle of the night, and then they charge you. They come with a document signed by a judge indicting you, accusing you of cooperating with the Russians, and that's all they need to take you forever. So Washington's spy master has flown to Ukraine in secret to stamp a U.S. authority on the power struggle within the Kiev regime, says a security expert. Remember, this is a security expert. It's an expert. Now, this is coming from the Russians. No, it doesn't come from the Americans, which would be telling us the truth, as they always do. So please be mindful that this guy might be lying. Obviously, he has an interest. As these guys here invite their experts to analyze what's going on in the enemy camp, and they reach conclusions, and the conclusions are like dogma, like that's what it is. Oh my God, that's the way truth is. I would like you to use this guy in the same way because he's an expert. So when you attach expert next to someone's name, that person should be listened to. All right, so let's go back to this. The CIA director, William Burns, reportedly flew to Kiev on Wednesday for urgent and secret meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky. With Zelensky, not Zaluzny so far. Security analyst told Sputnik that Burns' visit dovetails with this week's visit to Washington by Andriy Yermak. Andriy Yermak is another one of the, used to be 4 little pigs in charge of the Ukrainian nation. Now there's 3 little pigs plus a Tatar from Crimea. Why do you think Zelensky appointed a Crimean Tatar to be Tatar? Not Ukrainian, Tatar. However you want to take it. From Crimea. Release the dogs. That guy is going to bite the Ukrainians. Zaluzny is going to bite the Russians in Crimea. Everybody that's not Tatar, and then going to turn around and bite, obviously, the Ukrainian Zelensky. Let me tell you this, my friends. Let me give you the information first. The communists in Romania, when they took over with the help of the Western countries, remember the Soviets came over with the tanks, and then they said, well, we're going to do some elections. The guys in charge were Romanians. Most of the people appointed in the best positions in the security police, in the oppression apparatus, were not Romanians. Why? So they would apply and they would do whatever they need to do to put down any kind of Romanian revolution in Romania. They would put all kind of people from outside or from within Romania. It's like, for instance, you put in Romania, I'm just giving you, should I give you an example like this? I'm going to give you an example in Germany. Let's say after the First World War, you would put the Minister of Defense, a Brit. You're going to put, the guy in charge of the military, not defense minister, the commander-in-chief. You put a French guy living in Germany. But of French, you know what I mean? French. How do you think that would be looked at? It's like kind of, that's how you have in Ukraine. You have Zelensky, French. You have Zmihal, the Prime Minister, British. You have the Minister of Defense. I already said he's a Chinese. And then you have Yermak, who's also Romanian or something. So all these guys are Ukrainians. Why? So they can, with no problem, especially if they love the Ukrainian nation and the Russian nation, will complete and will follow orders, doing whatever they ask. Have no heart for that. A Romanians will be a little bit, oh my God, you're... Keep that in mind. The chiefs of the police and these guys, you would put different ethnicities. So let's say you have a town of Hungarians, you put a Romanian in charge. You have a town of Romanians, you put a Hungarian in charge. Why? Because if you give that Hungarian the order to suppress the Romanian population, he will do it, most likely, because of the love between the two groups, let's say, in Romania. And there's more than just groups. There are the Gypsies as well. There are the Germans as well. There are Ukrainians and some. So you put them one against another, and then you dominate. It says here that the security analyst told Sputnik, Yermak, Zelensky's powerful gray cardinal, chief of staff, to meet U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. who duly uttered pledges of continued military support for Kiev in the US proxy conflict with Russia. The general assumption is that this, I'm quoting, that this has to do with the growing rift between, the word here is assumption, rift between Zelensky, the president of the Kiev regime, and Valery Zaluzny, the regime's top general. Sleboda explained nothing that the Western mainstream media were openly now reporting about the rift and speculating that they are on the verge of some type of open conflict. It is, and that aide of Zaluzny that blew up himself with a grenade, it was, I think, a warning to Zaluzny. Hey. Hey. So it says here that he pointed out that the US was already pressuring its client state in Ukraine to hold the presidential election on schedule by March 31st, 2024, with the intention of replacing Zelensky, who may appear to have lost confidence with Zaluzny, end quote. Zelensky called off that election last week, claiming the ongoing fighting and the secession of 4 regions to Russia in 2022 made it impossible. And he said, first he said, okay, if you pay for it, and then last week it became no elections, Sleboda said. And now Zaluzny's top deputies, those close to him, we've had one fired. We've had another one blown up at his birthday party by either a moronic accident or a targeted political assassination by those close to Zelensky. Okay, so I don't think this guy is really off target. I think he, how do you call it? For me, just confirms conclusions I reached on my own, and that is there is a war between Zelensky and those guys, and Zaluzny on the other side. I think it comes from, maybe I'm too how should I put it, idealistic. But I think it comes from Zaluzny's love for his country, and I think he's saying enough is enough. That's what I think. He said, well, without that help, with this amount of weapons that we need, he listed the reasons why this is a stalemate and this dead already, the situation I'm talking about. And he said, without all these things like weapon, this kind of very advanced technological advanced weapons, without training, without this, with this, we can't do anything. We're just going to be decimated little by little. So either or, stop or give us all that. Zelensky, on the other hand, he is, as I said, appointed over there by certain forces, and he is a Ukrainian, so he doesn't care. And he has a job to do, and he's doing it. He has been doing it. Can he go rogue? I don't think so, because the people around him are going to just pick him up, put him in a little black van, and deliver him wherever he needs to be delivered. With Zaluzny, it's a little bit harder, because over there it's military, so there are orders, there are relationships formed years and so on, so they know who's who, what's what. Doesn't mean that you don't have traitors among you. You have them, but I think the option, these guys, Zelensky could be taken from here and brought over there by others, because he depends on everybody else. His relationship with everybody else is just a relationship of no relationship, the money and promises and orders. The orders come from outside. Zelensky doesn't give orders in a way of, I have the power. The power is given by a third party over there. Remember when Jesus Christ was in front of Pontius Pilate? And he said, well, your power comes from far beyond. And I said, what? Yeah, it comes from Rome. So you depend on a Rome power. That's your power, not your power. As mine comes from the same kind of, I don't know, just brought that because I thought it was in my head, close. So these guys, the same way. Zaluzny's power doesn't come from the United States. He's in a military, Ukrainian military. I mean, and this guy is a clown that was pushed and elected and all that by Rome. Thank you very much for being with me again today. What can we expect to see? Either Zaluzny wins, or which is Zelensky is just, or Zelensky falls back in line. We're gonna hear Zelensky keeping his mouth shut. That's what I think was going to be the most probable thing. So he's going to say, hey, buddy, smack, go back in line. And Zelensky's going to be like a clown. Yeah, I go back in line. That's what he's going to do. But with Zaluzny, Zaluzny would not work that way. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Again, second time. Zelensky could be taken and taken. The other one, not really. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.